Hello everyone, welcome to Robot Fight Club. My name is Lucas. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you why I believe the Flysky FS-I6 is the optimal transmitter for beginners in combat robotics. Let's get into it.
Robot Fight Club.
Okay, so when you're getting started in combat robotics, one of the hardest things to buy is a transmitter because there's so many options. You don't really know what you need, and it's just really difficult. It's one of the biggest costs for your entire robot. So you need to select it carefully, and the one I ended up getting was the Flysky FS-I6 because it came highly recommended by people who do combat robotics. And I can say it has been really great to have, and I love this transmitter. Now, fair warning, this is the only hobby grade RC transmitter I've ever owned, so I don't have anything to compare it against, but I do know it serves my needs very well. Alright, so for a brief overview of the Flysky FS-I6 transmitter, it's very simple. There are 6 channels, which means you can control 6 individual functions on your robot at once, which is more than enough. Generally, you'll only need 3 channels, 2 for drive, 1 for weapon. Sometimes you'll need a 4th channel for like a self-righting mechanism, and more complicated robots may need more than that, but for a beginner, this is definitely all that you will need. You'll never need more than 6. And the 6 channels are spread out between, there are 2 on this drive stick. This is the right side, and this is going to be your drive stick. So this is how you control your robot. So one of the channels, so each of the channels I should say, on this drive stick will control one drive side. And you can channel mix it for arcade drive, but we'll talk about that more in a second. There are 2 channels on this stick. This would generally be a throttle channel, so this would be good for a weapon. And then there is a channel right here, which is pretty good for a self-righting mechanism or something like that, of that nature. And then there are 2 additional auxiliary channels, which you can program onto any of these 4 switches and 2 knobs. There's a 3-position switch, 3 2-position switches, and then there are 2 knobs. So you can program those additional 2 channels into whichever additional functions up here you want to that best serve your needs. So overall, I really like the channel setup on this, and that's just a basic overview. Alright, so the first pro is this transmitter is extremely cheap. You can buy this along with 1 receiver for $50. So that's a great price. Additional receivers are about, I want to say like $5 to $10, so they're very cheap. And to operate an additional robot, you just need to get another one of these. This thing is super easy to use once you have it figured out. Fair warning, it's a little bit quirky in some of the systems, but I'll explain all of that. And after you figure it out, it's really, really easy to use. My favorite feature is that you can program the entire transmitter off of this screen right here, so you don't need a computer, although it does have a jack and it comes with a cable, so you can program it from a computer if you want, but it's much, much easier, in my opinion, to go ahead and use this screen. To access the menus, you just have to hold OK, and then you can go to Setup, or the system setup, or the functions setup. So it's super easy, and then you just operate with these up and down keys and the cancel and OK. So to recap, what makes this remote so good in my opinion is it's cheap, easy to use, and it just gets the job done. I've had no problems with it cutting out, anything like that. So it's just working, and that's all you can really ask. Now let's take a look at some of the functions in how to program this remote to make it work on your combat robot. I'll be going into this topic a little bit more in a future video, but for now, take a look at these functions. Alright, so some of the features I really like that it has here on the LCD screen is it has the ability to reverse the channels. So you can reverse these if you solder them in backwards or something, you can just reverse them. And here's one of the quirks, and this is pretty much the only big one, is to save what you have programmed, you have to hold cancel, and it'll pause for a moment, and then it will exit, and then when you look back, you'll find that it has saved. So that's the main quirk, and other than that, it's pretty easy to operate. Another really cool one is the display, and this allows you to see what each of your sticks are doing without actually having to hook it up. So as you can see, I have arcade drive programmed in. So see that right there? That is my drive, and those would be my two drive motors going forward in the same direction when I am accelerating. And then you can see here, if I turn, they'll go in opposite directions, which would be a full spin where both motors are going in opposite directions. If I press it up here, one of the motors is on, so that'd be like a shorter turn, and then of course anything in between, you can go into a slight turn, things like that. Super, super easy to see what you have programmed in, so I really love that feature. Auxiliary channels are super easy to program. You just go into here, select which switch or knob you want it on, and they're all labeled, and then you just use the up and down keys to select which one you want it on. And I was on SWC, so I'm going to select that one, and then you can go down by pressing OK, and then you can program your other one, and once you have it how you want it, you can go ahead and press cancel, hold cancel, and it'll save it. Here's another cool feature, is that you can program 20 models, I believe, on here. So you could program 20 different robots with different controls on to this remote, and then you could go ahead and select which one you wanted to use at any particular time. So those are pretty much the main functions that you'll need to access to use this for combat robotics. Mix, which is how you channel mix to get it to control your robot properly. As are most receivers, this was made for a RC plane or helicopter, something of that nature. So when you get it, it will not be properly programmed, so it won't operate your combat robot correctly. So you need to mix the channels by going to your function setup and selecting mix, and then you need to program it. And I'll fully explain this in a future video, but for now, here are these two pictures showing how you're going to need to mix channels 1 and 2. Once you would have your mixes saved, you would just hold cancel, and then you could exit out of there and it'd be saved. Okay guys, I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, please like and subscribe for new videos on combat robotics every Friday. Thank you so much for watching, and down in the comments I'll answer any questions I can. I will see you guys next time.